Ready to grow a thriving garden, but only have like 5 minutes a day.
5 minutes.
That's the idea behind the 5-minute gardener, and it's gotten a lot of buzz.
It really has.
From like everyone, entrepreneurs to comedians, even doctors are raving about it. So whether you're already a gardening pro or you're just starting out and can't tell a petunia from a potato, this deep dive is for you.
I think what's so fascinating about this book is that it's not just about, gardening techniques. It's almost like a philosophy of small, consistent actions leading to big results.
Okay.
It's about how to integrate these like little bursts of green activity into your everyday life.
So instead of having like these marathon gardening sessions,
exactly,
it's about sneaking in those 5-minute windows, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, can you really tackle everything a garden needs in such short bursts?
Well, I think that's the beauty of this book. It kind of acts as your personal roadmap.
Okay.
It breaks down tasks into these manageable chunks.
Yeah.
And it gives you like really specific steps for each season,
Oh, wow.
month, week, and even day.
Wow.
It's like having a gardening coach in your back pocket.
Okay, and I hear this book even encourages you to start gardening during the coldest months.
Yes.
It's got to be a typo, right?
No. You would not believe some of the things that can actually thrive in the cold.
Really?
The 5-minute gardener talks about this technique called winter sowing.
Okay.
You basically create these mini greenhouses out of recycled containers to like jumpstart your seeds.
What?
While it's still freezing outside.
So you're saying I could be out there gardening in a blizzard?
Not quite a blizzard, but yeah. You get the idea.
Okay.
So winter sowing takes advantage of the natural freeze-thaw cycles to help germinate the seeds, which gives you a head start come spring.
Okay.
And it's a great way to like upcycle all those plastic containers we all have lying around.
Yeah. So you're harnessing the power of nature to do some of the work for you.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
But what kind of plants are we talking? I mean, are we limited to like just hardy greens with this?
You might be surprised by the variety. We're talking like kale and cabbage, of course.
Okay.
Root vegetables like beets and carrots.
Wow.
Even some flowers like black-eyed Susans and coneflowers.
Hold on, flowers too?
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Talk me through this winter sowing thing.
Sure.
Do you just toss seeds in a container and leave them out in the snow?
It's a little more nuanced than that. You're basically creating this mini ecosystem within each container, making sure there's proper drainage, ventilation. The book goes into the step-by-step, but essentially you're, mimicking the natural conditions that these seeds would experience outdoors.
So you're giving them a little boot camp for the outdoors.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're protected from the harshest elements, but they're still getting the benefits of the natural sunlight, the moisture fluctuations.
Right.
And then when the weather warms up, they're prepped and ready to be transplanted.
That's amazing.
Because they've gradually acclimated to those outdoor conditions.
That's brilliant and much less shocking than just ripping them out of a cozy indoor setup.
Right.
And throwing them into the harsh spring sun.
Yeah, exactly. But the book doesn't stop there. It goes beyond just winter sowing, and it gives you specific tasks for each week of the cold season.
Oh, wow.
You'll just gathering supplies, ordering seeds, even starting some plants indoors under grow lights.
So there's a mix of indoor and outdoor action even in the coldest months.
Absolutely. It's all about maximizing your time and your space. So you might be, planting hardy greens directly outdoors under a protective frost cloth. But at the same time, you can be starting your warm season favorites like your tomatoes and peppers indoors.
Okay, I'm starting to see how those 5 minutes really add up.
Yeah.
But are there any downsides to starting so early? When I end up with a jungle of overgrown seedlings before it's even time to plant them outside?
That's where the book's emphasis on observation comes in.
Okay.
It really encourages you to become a student of your garden. Check for moisture levels, adjusting light and air circulation.
Right.
Even pruning to kind of manage the growth.
So it's not just about blindly following a schedule.
Exactly.
It's about being attuned to what those little plants need to thrive.
Exactly. It's about developing that intuition.
Yeah.
And becoming a true partner with your garden.
I love that.
Even in the midst of winter.
This is all starting to sound less like a tour and more like a fascinating dance with nature.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And speaking of enjoying the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
Did you know the book even includes delicious recipes?
Really?
To help you kind of savor those early harvests.
Wait, you're telling me I could be enjoying fresh homegrown salads in the middle of winter?
You absolutely could.
What?
We're talking sprouts, microgreens, even some early herbs and greens.
Oh, wow.
It's a reminder that you can experience the joy of gardening and those delicious rewards, even during the coldest months.
Okay, I am officially sold on this whole cold season gardening thing.
I'm glad.
But before we move on to, like, warmer weather,
yes.
Are there any other surprises the book has in store for us
Well,
during this, like, often overlooked season?
there's this fascinating concept called the gardenary border.
Okay.
But that's a story for our next chapter as we move into the cool season.
Okay, so we're trading in those snow boots.
Yeah.
For some gardening gloves because we're headed into the cool season.
That's right.
All right, so I'm picturing, like, rows of vibrant greens, pops of color everywhere. It's like the garden is waking up from a long winter's nap.
You got it.
I love it.
The cool season is all about that burst of life.
Yeah.
And the 5-Minute Gardener really helps you, harness that energy.
Okay.
Remember that gardenary border we mentioned?
Oh, yeah, the beautiful and functional border packed with perennials.
Yes.
Okay, tell me more. I'm all about, like, working smarter, not harder in the garden, so that sounds right up my alley.
Picture this. A border teeming with, like, fragrant herbs, like oregano, chives, thyme, while you have like these early bloomers, like pansies and violas, adding those pops of color.
I'm hooked already. So it's more than just like a pretty face, though.
Exactly.
What else makes this gardenary border so special?
Those herbs attract beneficial insects.
Okay.
The flowers provide a feast for the pollinators.
Right.
And together they create this like balanced ecosystem.
Oh, wow.
That benefits your whole garden.
I love that.
And plus, since they're perennials,
yeah,
they come back year after year.
That's right.
Less work for you.
It's a win-win.
I know.
Less work and a thriving garden. But what about those cool season veggies?
Right.
I can't resist a fresh salad. So tell me, like, what's on the menu during this season?
Get ready for a taste explosion. We're talking arugula, spinach, lettuce, radishes.
Oh, gosh, yes.
All those, like, delicate flavors.
That's right.
That just scream springtime.
Right.
And don't forget about peas and hava beans starting to climb their trellises.
So much goodness.
There is.
It's overwhelming in the best way possible.
Right.
But let's back up for a sec. So the book talks about different types of plants.
Yes.
Perennial, biennial, and annual.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me like a quick refresher on what those all mean?
So think of perennials as like your reliable friends, right?
Yeah.
They come back year after year, just like those in the gardenary border. Biennials take 2 years to complete their life cycle.
Okay.
Whereas annuals go from seed to seed in just one season.
Got it. Okay.
And the 5-Minute Gardener shows you how to incorporate all 3 types into your garden for like maximum variety and impact.
Okay, I love it. So what are some of the first things we should be tackling as the cool season kicks off?
Well, just like any good project, it starts with a bit of spring cleaning.
Okay.
You want to clear away any debris from the previous season and nourish the soil with a fresh layer of compost.
So we're setting up that healthy foundation.
Exactly.
For those plants to flourish.
That's right.
Makes total sense. And I remember we like started some warm season the plants indoors during the cold season?
Yes, we did.
Is it finally time to move those babies outside?
Not so fast.
Okay.
Even though they're getting a head start, the book really emphasizes the importance of hardening them off before transplanting them permanently outside.
Hardening up. It's like giving them a taste of the outdoors.
Exactly.
Before fully committing.
Yes.
Right.
You gradually introduce them to the outdoor conditions.
Okay.
Starting with like a few hours in a shady spot. And slowly increase their sun exposure over a week or 2.
It's like their little boot camps.
It is.
For the outdoors.
So not shocked by the change.
I've definitely learned that lesson the hard way in the past. But once those seedlings are all toughened up and ready to go, are there any like special considerations for planting during the cool season?
Well, watering is key, especially as the weather starts to warm up.
Right.
But again, it's not about sticking to some like rigid schedule.
Yeah.
The 5-Minute Gardener encourages you to observe your plants and respond to their individual needs.
So instead of just like blindly following a schedule.
Exactly.
I should be paying attention to how the soil looks and feels, checking the leaves for signs of thirst, all that.
Exactly. Develop that intuition, become a true partner with your garden.
Okay, I love it.
And as they start to grow taller, you might want to think about providing some support.
You're talking about those DIY trellises the book is famous for?
Yes.
Okay, I can't wait to try building some myself.
They're fun to make, and they're super functional.
I love that.
So vining plants like peas and beans, they love having something to climb on.
Right.
And for like your larger plants like kale and broccoli and cauliflower, stakes can help prevent them from toppling over.
So it's all about working with nature, providing that little extra support.
Yes.
to help them reach their full potential. I'm sensing a theme here.
I think you are.
With this book.
Yeah.
And speaking of supporting your plants, don't forget about pruning.
Right. That's important.
Okay, so pruning, isn't that mostly a fall activity?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The 5-minute gardener reminds us that it's a year-round activity.
Even in the cool season?
Even in the cool season.
Okay, so what exactly should we be pruning during this time?
It's all about directing the growth and encouraging more abundant harvests.
Okay.
So, for example, the book suggests pinching off the tips of your pea plants to promote, like, bushier vines, and cutting back the outer leaves of leafy greens to stimulate more growth in the center.
Those 5-minute bursts of pruning really make a difference.
They do.
It's amazing how these small actions can have such a big impact.
Right.
But pruning isn't just about promoting growth, right? It's also about protecting your plants.
Exactly.
From pests and diseases.
Yes.
Oh, right. Pests. They can be such a nuisance.
They can.
What are some of the natural pest control methods that the book recommends?
Well, companion planting is a fantastic strategy.
Companion planting? Remind me what that is again?
So it's basically strategically planting different species together to create a more balanced and resilient ecosystem.
Okay.
So, for example, you could plant marigolds alongside your tomatoes to deter nematodes.
Oh, okay.
Or cilantro and parsley to attract ladybugs. Which are natural predators of aphids.
So you're building your own little army of beneficial insects.
Exactly.
To protect your garden.
That's right.
I love that. And what if those pesky pests are still causing trouble?
Well, then the book gives recipes for a homemade garlic spray and insecticidal soap, which are natural alternatives to harsh chemical pesticides.
Got to keep things natural in the garden.
That's right.
All right. So after all this planting, tending, pruning, protecting, what does the cool season harvest actually look like?
Okay, so picture this. Vibrant salads.
Okay.
Bursting with fresh leafy greens, flavorful herbs to elevate your culinary creations.
I love it.
And those first sweet peas and fava beans, a true taste of spring.
My mouth is watering already.
Okay.
And I bet those cool season flowers would make some stunning bouquets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The book encourages us to bring that beauty indoors. So just imagine, a vase filled with cheerful pansies, fragrant sweet peas, and those, delicate violas, a reminder of all those 5-minute efforts blossoming into something beautiful.
Okay, so the cool season is a time of, transition and growth.
Yes.
Both for our gardens. And maybe even for ourselves, right?
I think so.
Are you ready for things to heat up?
I am.
As we head into the warm season?
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for those tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers to take center stage.
Yes.
The warm season is where things really start to get juicy.
That's right.
And the 5-minute gardener has some great tips for making the most of it.
All right, so we've officially traded those cool season greens for some serious heat.
It's time.
It's warm season time, and I am already dreaming of those juicy tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
And crisp cucumbers. It's like the garden's throwing a party and everyone's invited.
That's a great way to put it. The warm season is all about embracing those long, sunny days.
Right.
And the 5-minute gardener has some, brilliant strategies for making the most of this, bountiful season.
So we're talking a whole new set of challenges and rewards, right? What are some of the key things we need to keep in mind as those temperatures start to rise?
Well, I think before we get, too excited about all those warm season favorites, it's important to remember that our cool season plants are still, hanging in there.
Right.
The book reminds us to, observe how they're doing and start harvesting strategically.
So it's like a carefully choreographed dance, making sure everyone has the space they need to shine.
Exactly.
What does that look like in practice?
So, let's say you've got a sprawling cool season plant that's kind of shading a smaller warm season newcomer.
Okay.
You're going to prioritize harvesting from that larger plant to make room for the new growth.
So it's all about creating that perfect balance.
Exactly.
I like it. And as we're clearing out those cool season crops, it's time to start thinking about those DIY trellises we built, right?
Yes.
Those tomatoes and cucumbers are going to need some serious support.
You're right. Having those trellises in place and ready to go is going to make all the difference as you're writing plants really take off.
It's so satisfying to use something you built yourself
I know.
in the garden. And the book makes it so easy.
It does.
With those step-by-step instructions.
Yeah, resourcefulness at its finest. Now, as you're planting those warm season stars, remember that hardening off is just as crucial for these guys as it was for those cool season transplants.
Right. We wouldn't want to shock those tender seedlings with like a sudden blast of summer sun. So it's back to that boot camp approach. We're gradually acclimating them to the great outdoors.
Exactly. A little tough love goes a long way.
I love it. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. What are some of the must-have plants for a 5-minute gardener's summer garden?
Ooh.
I am ready to fill my plate with all that warm season goodness.
Well, tomatoes are a given.
Of course.
But the book encourages you to kind of go beyond those, basic supermarket varieties.
Okay, I'm listening.
So imagine heirloom tomatoes bursting with flavor. Sweet cherry tomatoes, perfect for snacking.
Ooh, yeah.
You can even have some of those unique purple and green varieties.
What?
That will make your neighbors do a double take.
My garden's going to be the talk of the neighborhood. And I remember the book suggesting planting basil alongside tomatoes. Is that just for the classic caprese salad pairing, or is there more to it?
It's a match made in garden heaven.
Okay.
Not only do they taste amazing together,
right,
but basil can also help deter pests that might be attracted to your tomato plants.
So a win-win for both our taste buds and the health of our garden.
Exactly.
What other warm season superstars should we be adding to our shopping list?
Well, don't forget about peppers.
Okay, yes.
You can have sweet bell peppers for stuffing, spicy jalapenos to add some kick to your dishes.
Love it.
And those colorful Hungarian wax peppers that look as good as they taste.
And of course, we can't forget about cucumber, zucchini, and squash, those quintessential summer staples.
You gotta. The warm season is truly a feast for the senses.
It is.
And with the 5-minute gardener's guidance,
right,
you'll be swimming in delicious harvests.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing plants in the ground, but the work doesn't stop there, right? The book emphasizes that tending to our warm season garden is just as important as it was during the cooler months.
Absolutely. As those temperatures rise, watering becomes even more crucial.
Okay.
And, remember, deep watering is key. You want to encourage those roots to grow deep down into the soil,
right,
where they'll be less susceptible to drying out.
So we're not just giving them a quick sprinkle, we're giving them a good long drink.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of giving our plants what they need, don't forget about feeding them.
Right.
All that growth and fruit production takes a lot of energy.
That's true. So what's the best way to replenish those nutrients?
The book recommends using compost or earthworm castings.
Okay.
Which provide this slow, steady release of nutrients throughout the season. It's like giving your plants this balanced and delicious meal.
I love that. And what about pruning? I know we talked about it during the cool season, but does it apply to warm season plants as well?
Definitely. In fact, pruning is especially important for plants like tomatoes.
Okay.
The book recommends removing those suckers, the little shoots that grow between the main stem and the branches.
So it's kind of like giving them a haircut.
Yeah, you could say that.
What's the benefit of removing those suckers?
So by removing the suckers, you're basically directing the plant's energy towards producing those juicy tomatoes we all love.
So simple, but effective.
It is.
And don't forget about supporting those heavy tomato plants as they start to load up with fruit.
That's right. Stakes or cages are essential
to
keep them from toppling over.
Okay, my mouth is officially watering. We've planted, we've tended, we've pruned, we've protected. I think it's finally time to talk about harvesting.
Yes, all that warm season goodness.
Get your baskets ready because the warm season harvest is truly a bounty of deliciousness.
All right.
You've got those sun-ripened tomatoes bursting with flavor, crisp cucumbers perfect for salads and snacks, and zucchini so abundant you'll be giving it away to your neighbors.
And don't forget those fragrant herbs, fresh basil, oregano, thyme, perfect for adding that extra zing to your culinary creations.
Yes.
And the book encourages you to, savor those harvests immediately and preserve any excess for later. Imagine jars of homemade tomato sauce, sun-dried tomatoes, pickled cucumbers, a taste of summer to enjoy all year round.
Oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless. Well, we've covered the cold season, the cool season, and now the warm season.
Yes.
I'm starting to think there's nothing this 5-minute gardener can't handle. But wait, the book mentions a fourth season? The hot season?
It does.
What's that all about?
That's for those regions where summer takes things to a whole new level. We're
Okay.
talking like intense, prolonged heat.
Wow.
That would send most plants running for cover. But even in these like challenging conditions, the 5-minute gardener has some tricks up its sleeve.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are some of the secrets to gardening in such extreme heat?
It's all about choosing the right plants for the job.
Okay.
The ones that are like specifically adapted to thrive in scorching temperatures. So think like heat-loving herbs like basil and oregano, greens like Malabar spinach and New Zealand spinach, and root crops like sweet potatoes.
Wow, it's amazing how plants can adapt to even the most challenging environments. But I bet even those tough guys need a little extra TLC during a heat wave.
You're absolutely right. Watering and mulching become like even more crucial during the hot season, helping to like retain moisture and keep the soil cool and, providing some shade for those plants that need a break from the intense sun can make a world of difference.
So whether it's using shade cloths, strategically planting taller crops to provide some cover, or even just setting up a temporary umbrella, a little bit of shade can go a long way.
Exactly. It's all about working with nature. Providing those little nudges and adjustments to help our plants thrive no matter what the season throws our way.
Wow, I am so impressed by the wealth of knowledge packed into the 5-minute gardener.
It's really amazing.
It's truly a guide for all seasons and all levels of gardening experience.
What I find most remarkable is how it transforms the concept of gardening from this daunting chore into these series of manageable, enjoyable moments. It's about integrating those 5-minute bursts of green activity into your daily life.
Exactly.
And reaching the reward, not just in the form of delicious harvests. But also in the sense of connection and accomplishment and well-being.
Totally.
That comes with nurturing a thriving garden.
It's about so much more than just growing plants, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about growing ourselves, too.
Beautifully said. So are you ready to embrace the 5-minute gardener approach and unlock the magic of your own backyard?
I know I am, and we'd love to hear from you, too. Share your thoughts, experiences, or questions about the 5-minute gardener. We're all in this gardening journey together. Until next time, happy gardening.